that, they will be proceeding with the remains of the former president to Daura for the funeral proper.
And what we are doing now is a waiting game, as we just have heard from Nisi Gabriel, our live correspondent from Katsina, that the remains of the former president have arrived in Katsina and Daura. And we also saw images of the vice president, Kashim Shettima, walking across the tarmac to where we assume update the president about his arrival and about the arrival of the remains of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. We also saw images of the president's wife.
Aircrafts, military aircrafts, patrolling around the premises around Katsina. So that gives us a sense that the former president has been given, is being given a full honor. It seems the president is coming out alongside the vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and any moment from now, I think they are moving towards the coffin. Yeah, these are live pictures of. Can you zoom in? These are live pictures of the Vice President Kashim Shettima and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu moving towards the coffin of former President Muhammadu Buhari. And it is expected that once they approach the coffin, the Vice President and the pallbearers will bring the coffin forward, and it will be received by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I can see former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo there. I can see the Prime Minister of Niger Republic. All top dignitaries moving towards the coffin of the former President Muhammadu Buhari. So any moment from now, we are about to witness a ground reception by the military. The pallbearers will be bringing out the coffin, and I can tell you, today is a historic moment. We are seeing live pictures from the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport. And I know many can't wait for the coffin to be brought out and the full procession commencing in earnest. So the president and the vice president, alongside other dignitaries, they have gone to the Nigeria Air Force aircraft. They are around there, and we can't really have a clear view from where we are standing, but we do know that most likely they will be saying their prayers before the coffin, before it's been brought out. At least they'll be paying their last respects, some sort of respect before it's been brought out. And today marks a historic day for Nigeria as we witness the final laying to rest of a man who has been described by many as a humble person, someone with integrity, someone who lived a forthright life, and he will be greatly missed by the people of Katsina State because they love him dearly, and his hometown Daura love him even more. So he will be greatly missed. As you can hear, the military are about to commence. Any moment from now, the coffin will be brought out for the whole world to see. These are live pictures from the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport, and we can report to our viewers that the remains of the former President Muhammadu Buhari, has arrived. The President of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Vice President has also arrived, and other top dignitaries are here. And any moment from now, the full military procession will commence.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gabriel. Our correspondent has been at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport in Katsina, where he's reported that the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari has arrived in the country. Well, joining us now from our Abuja studio is Arise News analyst Mahmoud Jega, who will be talking to us about the legacies, the life and legacy of the late President Muhammadu Buhari, as well as today's events. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
Thank you very much, Madam.
So how do you think Muhammadu Buhari will be remembered in Nigerian history, particularly in terms of his contributions to the country's development and stability?
Okay, the public service. He was governor, he was minister, he was head of state, he was president, he was chairman. So along the way, he earned many, many epithets. You see, some for life, like he's tall, ramrod, stiff, hardly smiles. Those epithets he earned for life, military bearing and all that. And then when he was military head of state, he earned many more epithets, together with his then deputy Major General Tunde Idiamo, that they were tough, arrested hundreds of politicians. They enacted many draconian decrees, backdated some of them. The war against indiscipline was very tough, and all kinds of things. They criminalized, they executed cocaine pushers, all kinds of things. But in the end, I think people thought they were really determined and principled and helped the country. And very importantly, after he was overthrown and was kept in detention for 3 years, in Africa at that time, the commonest allegation against any government that was overthrown in a military coup was corruption. But after he was overthrown and detained for 3 years, there was no allegation of corruption against him or his administration, which was very significant. And then in later years, he came to chair the Petroleum Trust Fund, which was quite efficient in its intervention in infrastructure. Though there were allegations that it was not totally balanced, but at least it was very efficient and was not accused of corruption. And then from 2002, when he entered politics, he acquired more epithets, like he was determined, he contested for the presidency 3 times, didn't win, finally won on the 4th occasion. And then when he became president after 2015, then even more epithets, that he was principled, he was, how do you put it, Spartan, and focused. But then there are many other negative epithets, like, for example, Baba goes slow, because it took him time to constitute cabinet and make appointments, and even started acting. There were allegations that his appointments, although he himself was still thought to be not corrupt, but there were allegations against some of the people around him. And then there was the element of bad luck. There was economic recession during his time, and there was also the COVID-19 pandemic that came within his time. And then there was also element of bad advice and bad decisions, like, for example, the last-minute attempt to change currency on the eve of elections, which was really quite controversial. So, as I said, it was a long public service career, but on the whole, I think he will be remembered quite well, especially because he escaped allegations of corruption, which is the most common thing against African leaders.
Thank you so much for that. And his military career spanned several decades, including his role in the Nigerian Civil War as military head of state. How, in your opinion, do you think that these experiences and the authoritarian style of his 1980s regime, how did it influence his approach to governance when he did become a democratic president?
Yeah, there were elements of that. Although, these soldiers tend to be different. Some of the soldiers are almost civilians. If you think like maybe General Babangida or General Abdul Salam, they were not, they didn't seem to be very military inclined. But some like Abacha and also like General Buhari, the military thing in them was very vivid. And when he became civilian president, it was clear that he had some problems adjusting to the democratic structures, in particular working with the National Assembly, because he was used to the Supreme Military Council in the 80s, which was 22 members and which he completely dominated, and according to some of his colleagues, even overruled on some occasions. Now, you cannot easily overrule the National Assembly, but he fought it in many respects, like stop budget padding and many other things seem to be corrupt. Then, even with the political party and politicians, he was not what you call a politician. He didn't seem very comfortable among politicians and political parties. I think he saw them as essentially rowdy and corrupt, but he had to adjust to them. I think he did so fairly well, but you could always see the military element in him. You're not fond of politicians, and but he got along finally fairly well.
Okay, so I'd like us to talk about, the former president's legacy in terms of promoting democracy, good governance, and regional cooperation in West Africa. How do you think he performed on that front?
Okay, one of the allegations, one of the negative epithets that he earned during his presidency was that he was very fond of travel, that he was always going here and there. But I'm sure he saw it as part of the effort to consolidate Nigeria's leadership position, not only in West Africa, but on the African continent and on the international plane. So it was necessary for a president to attend all kinds of ECOWAS meetings and visit neighbors and go to Addis Ababa for African Union summit and also go to United Nations. And the earliest trips that he made as president was to the boring countries.
Mahmoud Jaga, we have to interrupt you here. We have updates live from Katsina. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newsday and for your contributions. We will head back to Nisi Gabriel, who is live at the airport, as we see live images of individuals, dignitaries, and family members of the late president arriving and receiving his body. Nisi, can you give us an update on what has happened in the last 5 minutes? Well, until it seems that we do not have Nisi right now, until he comes back, we will continue to look at the live images from Katsina. Right now we are at the airport where the body of the former president arrived shortly. We also saw some images of what I assume are the former president's family, the Buhari extended family on ground as well. We do know that the president is on ground as well, and the vice president. And we have Nisi Gabriel back in correspondence. Nisi, we know it's a lot going on ground right now. Please give us an update of what is transpiring.
All right, a few moments ago, family members moved out from the aircraft, and the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Remi Tinubu, was seen consoling the widow, Aisha Buhari, as they walked away from the aircraft. Now, as you can see, we have live pictures of the widow, Aisha Buhari, alongside our close family members. These are live pictures. The First Lady of Nigeria, Remi Tinubu, is also here. We're seen with her, trying to console her. These are sorrowful times for the family and not the best of times for them, because they've lost a father, they've lost a strong pillar in their family. As you can see, they are all putting on black regalia, and it depicts mourning. They're in the mourning period, and they're exchanging pleasantries with governors of states, senior government officials, why the protocol people try to file them together as they prepare for the commencement of the military procession. That's a good question, and I've asked same questions to Fetched. You get response like, will be remembered for his modest living. You get response like, will be remembered for being truthful, living a life of integrity. You also get response like, he's been remembered for being an anti-corruption crusader. So the late President Muhammadu Buhari means a lot to different people. And we also had, I think it was the former, it was the Minister of Information that said he hopes generations to come will read about him and will learn from him and will learn from his modest way of life. So the late president means a lot to many people. And at moments, at this point, we can see the protocol are trying to arrange members of his immediate families, his wife, I'm sure his nephew and other people are there. So the military procession parade is about to commence, and any moment from now, we'll get to see the coffin being brought out of the aircraft, and the full military reception will commence. But before I get back to you, I think let's just have a rundown of the early life and military career of late President Muhammadu Buhari. I know many people don't know that he is the 23rd child of his late father, and he was born in Daura in Katsina. And also, his early life training spanned Nigeria, the UK, and as a military officer, he traveled for training across the US, the UK. So he has a life. These are not the best of times for members of the family themselves. Some of them are crying, consoling each other. But I can see the federal government delegation. If my cameraman can pan towards the federal government delegation heading towards us, and any moment from now, the procession will kickstart. The coffin is being brought out from the aircraft. As we reported earlier, we can see service chiefs also here. The governors are also here. So any moment from now, the procession will kickstart. And I'm being told it won't take long because they have to convey the body to Daura for the funeral proper.
And you see, we were earlier just commending how seemingly organized it was maybe about 20, 30 minutes ago before the body arrived. But it seems as more individuals have arrived on the tarmac and the body has been, is in movement, the crowds have gotten a little bit chaotic from what we saw earlier. What are you witnessing on ground? How would you describe the security situation and how tightly guarded things might be, seeing as there's a lot of bodies that have materialized on the screen in the last few minutes?
Well, like you rightly said, yes, the numbers of persons on the tarmac has greatly increased. We can even have people coming in just to see for themselves the remains of the former president, why he's being driven on the motorcade to the helicopter. So, well, in terms of security, yes, security has been beefed up so tight. We can see security officials escorting the vehicle. Also, the president is advancing towards us. So that signals commencement of this ceremony. And across Katsina metropolis and also in Daura town, there's heightened security presence. So it shows that truly the president has kept to his word. And we'll also observe up until the end of this funeral ceremony to see if truly former President Muhammadu Buhari will be given full state honors. Of course, he's already been given full state honors, as we can see right now. Live pictures are showing that.
Well, but then, Mr. I'm wondering, do you know if there are any arrangements that will be made for the public to pay their respects to the former president?
All right, we can see the coffin is being brought out. The coffin is being brought out now, and the military procession is about to commence. Security operatives, as you can see, are trying to disperse crowd from covering, from coming to the center of attraction where the whole event is happening. So the coffin is being brought out gradually, and any moment from now, the full guard of honor will commence their procession and their parade in honor of the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari.
Well, Nisi, I asked if there will be arrangements for the public to pay their respects to the late former president. Do you know of any such arrangements?
We'll be waiting at his Daura family residence. So, according to Islamic rites, I don't think there will be room for that. Because once they get to Daura, the burial ceremony will commence in earnest. I can see an ambulance right behind me. An ambulance has been brought close to the families, close to where the family of the former president, the late former president, is standing. And as you can see, the military procession is about to take start in earnest. These are live pictures. The coffin of the former president is being rolled gradually for the military to commence.
And we have many different angles that we are getting the footage from. This is the front angle of the military officers in procession with the body of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari. It is a solemn time. We have been covering this for the last couple of hours. Nisi Gabriel, our correspondent in Katsina, doing such a great job. There's quite a lot of people on hand. It seems that the procession is about to start in earnest as the music picks up. Let's listen in.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay. Well, these are live pictures from Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport. The remains of the former President Muhammadu Buhari, is gradually being rolled on the red carpet to the motorcade and the ambulance, where he will be conveyed to Daura for the funeral. Right behind and beside the coffin of the late former president are governors, senior government officials, heads of states of African countries, all here to pay their final respect to a great leader. It's also important to note that President Muhammadu Buhari, survived by his second wife Aisha Buhari, and 10 children. He had 5 from each of his marriage. Well, it is indeed an emotional moment for many people right here at the Umar Musa International Airport, even myself. It's indeed an emotional moment for me too, because as we can see, these are the remains of former President Muhammadu Buhari. The military are here giving him full honors, paying their last final respect to late President Muhammadu Buhari. This is a president that will strongly be remembered for his strong anti-corruption policies, including the war against indiscipline. He is also a president that will be remembered trying to boost agriculture, homegrown feeding in this country. He is a president that will be remembered greatly for his service to Nigeria, his service to the people of Katsina, and the numerous improvements he has brought to his hometown, Daura. It's also important to note that former President Muhammadu Buhari was instrumental to the establishment of the University of Transportation in Daura, the Air Force Teaching Hospital there, also instrumental to the train route that passed through Daura, which is expected to lead up to Niger, and several other developmental strides he brought to his people. We can see, I can see the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Deputy Speaker, the Deputy Senate President, all advancing to cars, because they will be accompanying the motorcade to Daura. I can also see billionaire businessman, the person of Aliko Dangote. I can see the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, and several other prominent key figures here, observing and also paying their last respects to a towering figure, someone who lived a simple and humble life. It is indeed an emotional time here at the airport, a soulful time for his family, his friends, northern Nigeria as a whole. It can be said that this is indeed the end of an era, as a witness and watch live pictures remains of the former President Muhammadu Buhari, being rolled alongside a grand reception by the military. And from here, they'll be proceeding to Daura, where they will be buried. Former president had several unsuccessful presidential attempts while in his bid to become Nigerian president. For president in 2003, in 2007 and 2011, before emerging as the in 2015.